Good day, students. In last video, we have discussed about two techniques for the data transfer, that is programmed I/O, and another one was interrupt I/O device. Already, we have studied what is the disadvantage of programmed I/O. That a CPU have to wait unless that it get acknowledged signal from the I/O devices, and it has to wait. There will be a lot of time consuming in that process. Another, the second approach was interrupt associated IO. In that also, as compared to programmed IO, it is definitely a fast process, and CPU does not need to wait for long. But still, a lot of overheads are required. Like whenever interrupt is going to be acknowledged, program counter and status stack register need to be updated, and all those things will be there in interrupt driven IO also. To get more fast speed, or to get you want to have high speed for the data transfer, then the third approach, which is the most general approach nowadays, is the direct memory access approach, or in short you can say it is a DMA approach. So what is there in that DMA approach? We can see that through this diagram. This is not a new diagram. You can see previously also we have discussed about this diagram. You can see here, this is a processor, then main memory, and these all are like IO devices. You can say it is a disk IO devices there. These are IO devices. Memory is secondary memory. You can say this is again IO. This is also a IO device. This is nothing but your secondary memory. Okay, we will see why we have used a DMA controller. Let us suppose whatever example we have taken in the last video. Let us suppose a keyboard want to operate. Then what will happen? This keyboard need to send the request to the processor, and then processor will go to the main memory. Okay, and whenever it something going to go on output also, again it will be going to through processor. Okay, whatever going to be whatever communication going to be happen between the memory and the IO, it is definitely going to be through the processor. Means for every operation, processor is compulsory for the operation IO devices whenever they want to do the communication between the main memory. Let me delete one thing. Just a second. Let us suppose a keyboard want to interact with the main memory. So first will go, it will send the request. Let us suppose it will take the one cycle here. Then processor will send to the main memory that particular data need to be either need to send or need to get. One cycle, let us suppose it will take here. Okay, so overall you can say to get the interaction with the main memory, keyboard need to do the operation in this way, or overall how much cycle it will take? Two cycles. Let us suppose it will take two cycles. Then what is the way I can make this process fast? The simple way, that instead of having this processor, if we can communicate, if we can communicate directly, no need of processor, no need of processor interfere. Processor will not interfere between these this operation means if we can directly access the memory from the input output devices, then how much? Maybe definitely it is going to be less than 2 cycles. So that technique we are telling as DMA technique. That means direct, as the name itself is suggesting, direct memory access means IO devices are going to access the memory directly, or in short DMA. That is all about a DMA thing. Why we need a direct memory access? So that our transfer of data, specifically if there is a large block of data, you want to transfer it very fast. So instead of going through the processor, let's go directly to the memory and transfer the data either to the memory or from the memory to the output devices, whatever is the requirement. If you can directly access the memory, that technique will be named as direct memory access, in short DMA. If we are going through this processor, as in the case of interrupt associated as well as program diode, you will say it indirect memory access. Those are, you also can name as indirect memory. Okay, that will be the case of indirect memory access. But right now we are going to discuss what is direct memory access and how it is going to be implemented. Okay, let me just erase these things. Let me erase these things. Okay, let's talk then how you will do this thing. Okay, you are going to go through bus only. Then there is a thing that is named as DMA controller. This DMA controller that will be there to help us in this regard, or you can say to it provide us the way to directly access the memory without the interference of the process. So for that we need a DMA controller. So for that we required a DMA controller. This DMA controller will help us to get the control of this buses so that we can directly access the main memory, because whenever we want to access the memory we have to go through this bus. But the control of bus is where? It is in the hand of processor. Okay, that's why if you, even if you want to directly access the main memory, there should be a way through which we can have the control of this bus and we can directly interact with the main memory. That is gonna happen. Okay, so let's see how this process will be happening. How it is going to be happen? So how it will happen, let's see through a small diagram. let us let us suppose this is a CPU, this is your main memory through which you want to interact. Or second, let's suppose this is your IO device or peripheral, you can say. Then there will be a thing that will be named as DMA controller, and then there will be a CPU. What will happen, as soon as IO device want to interact with the memory, it will send signal to the DMA controller, or simply you will say it will send DMA request. Okay, it will send a DMA request signal to the DMA controller. What will do, this DMA controller, as soon as it will get a signal from IO device that they want to interact with the main memory, it will send a signal to the CPU. It is also like a request signal, or simply you can request signal to the CPU. What request it will make to the CPU? That he want to, that IO devices want to interact with the main memory, so that it need the control of the bus. Request for bus control. It will request for the bus control. As soon as CPU will see the request for the bus control, it will acknowledge the DMA. It will acknowledge the DMA. Okay, I am handing over my job to you, that I am handing over the system bus to you. You can have the control of the buses. As soon as it will get the signal, it is again directly connected to this one. It will make a path between IO device and all. DMA controller will give the access to the IO device, that you can use the buses directly and you can interact with the main memory. This is how the process will start. First, this request will be generated. Second, then DMA will request for the bus control to the CPU. Then CPU will give the signal that okay, I acknowledge your request and you can have the bus control now. As soon as DMA will get the bus control, it will get a connection with the main memory, and as soon as it gets the main memory, it will allow the IO devices to start transferring the data to and from the main memory. This is how it is going to work. Now, in this process, what are the requirements for the DMA? Because see, as soon as the data will be transferred, again the system bus need to be given to the CPU. That is required here. Once you have transferred your data between IO device and main memory, either to the main memory or either from the main memory, again the system bus should be given back to the CPU, so that whenever another DMA request will come, again the process can be done. That thing also will be required, means we have to give the control back to the CPU. So there should be something inside the DMA controller. So there will be some kind of registers which a DMA controller will be having. So let us see. These are the three main register. One is word count, one is starting address, and another one is status and control register. Status and control register. What is the starting address? Starting address means as soon as CPU will give the system bus to the DMA, it need to tell him where is the first address, where is the starting address where DMA can starts working. Okay. Then word count, how much data will be taken by the DMA controller, means okay, some task that DMA is going to do. Let us suppose starting address is 20H and it need to transfer some 8 data. So what will happen? It will take 21H, 22H, 23H. So every time it will count the words, how many words he has transferred to and fro from the main memory. Let us suppose it has transferred 8. So word count will be 8, so that next address will be like 27H, 27H. That address will be given back to the CPU, that up to this address I have worked. So next free address in the main memory is 27H. That up to 26H I have given the data to the main memory. So that address has been filled. In that way, word count is important for the DMA. Then starting address. Then another address, that is status and control register. It is of 32 bits. You can see from 0 to 31. So we will be talking about only 4 bits, 0, 1 and 30 and 31. But there are others, 28 bits are there, which again can be used for different purpose. Like if an error has came, so any bit can be used for that purpose, that error was there or not. In that way, these 28 bits or also can be used. But right now we are talking about only these 4 bits. First, this bit number 1, that is read write bus. Read write means it will going to give us the direction. Direction means in which direction data need to be transferred. If it is a read operation, that means you will set this bit as 1. If it is a write operation, you will set it as a 0 bit. 1 means read operation, means you want to read something from the main memory. Okay, that means you have to transfer the data from main memory to the IO device. Okay, is it correct? You want to read the data. Okay, if you want to write the data, that means you need to transfer the data from IO device to the memory. At that time you will make it 0. That is the operation of this read write. So it is going to make you the direction. Second bit, that we are talking about, this done bit. This done bit means the CPU, as soon as the DMA will complete his transfer, as soon as this sorry, this DMA will complete its transfer, it will make this bit as a 1. Initially it will be 0, but as soon as transfer will be complete, it will make 1. As soon as this bit will get 1, that means DMA has transferred its entire data. Means now we can give the control of the bus back to the processor. That is the meaning of this done bit. It shows that DMA has transfers entire data either from the memory or to the memory. Apart from this interrupt request and interrupt enable. If this interrupt enable is 1, if IE is equal to 1, then as soon as data will be transferred completely, what will happen, this done bit will be make 1 and the DMA will send a interrupt request. It will make this bit also 1. Okay, to tell the processor that my transfer has completed and you can take the control of the bus, it will send a interrupt request if this interrupt enable is 1. This is how these different kind of bits, or you can say flags, can be used to control the operation between the processor and the DMA controller. Yeah, we know that we don't want the interference of the processor when we want to transfer the data between the IO devices and the main memory. But at last, because processor is there which is having the control of the bus, DMA also have to interact at least once with the processor to get the control of the bus and to give back the control of the bus to the processor. That need to be done through these status and control flag registers and then starting a address and word count. This is how this entire DMA will work, DMA controller will work. We can see this DMA with the help of this diagram also. You can see this is your IO peripheral device. What will do, whenever it want to transfer a data to or from the main memory, it will send a DMA request to your DMA controller, which is main one. As soon as it will get a DMA request, it will send a DMA acknowledgement signal to the IO device that you can use the direct memory access, or you can use the bus for direct transfer to and fro from the RAM. But when it will send a DMA acknowledgement to the IO device, first it need to take the control from the processor. First it need to take the control of the bus from the CPU. How it will take the control of the buses from the CPU? As soon as it will get a DMA request, first operation will be, it will be getting a DMA request. Then what will happen, it will send a bus request. This will be your second operation. It will send a bus request signal to the CPU. As soon as CPU will get a bus request, it will send a signal bus grant. This will be your third signal. You will get a bus grant. As soon as it got a bus grant signal, it will send the DMA acknowledgement that, yeah, I got the buses. You can use these buses for direct transfer of data between memory and IO devices. Fourth will be DMA acknowledge. Then these will be your data stack and register address to select the address, and then you can have the control through these read, write, address and data buses. Means all these things will be handed over to the direct memory and it will be connected to the main memory. This all connection will start working as soon as you will get the DMA acknowledge. Once the entire data has been transferred, then this DMA will send this interrupt signal to the CPU to make him aware that I have transferred the data. Now you can take the control of the buses from me and you can do your work as usual. This is how this entire DMA process will be there. So overall, out of these three approaches, peripheral IO, interrupt associated IO and DMA, the fastest one is the DMA, but yeah, it requires a external hardware that is named as DMA controller. The DMA controller is not a software things. Okay, so you just remember this point. DMA controller is a hardware implementation that can be done outside the processor, with the help of which you can directly access the memory Okay, that is DMA. One more thing, DMA can operate in two modes. DMA can transfer can be made in several ways, not several ways. You can say mainly it will be in two ways. One is bus transfer, and second one is cycle stealing. In bus transfer means it at a time entire data will be transferred to the memory or from the main memory. There won't be any processor thing in bus transfer. But when we talk about cycle stealing means processor is doing his work. In between, the DMA will take it will steal one cycle, it will transfer one data. Again, the processor will starts working. So it will take only one or two cycles. It will steal those cycles from the CPU and it will continue its work. That is like a stealing. It will steal some cycle. It won't transfer entire data at a time. One by one, it will in a sequential manner. It will send the data. So that will be named as cycle stealing. So in these two ways, normally DMA works. One is bus transfer and one is cycle stealing. So this is all about this DMA process. Uh, one more thing that is there in the uh, DMA thing. Let us suppose at the same time CPU also require the bus as well as DMA also require the bus. Let us suppose at the same time processor, that is your CPU, and your DMA both are requesting for the system bus. Then how you will decide that the bus will be given to DMA or how the bus will be given to CPU? That thing, to solve out this problem, we are having one method that is named as arbitration, that is bus arbitration. We have to use that kind of technique to solve out that kind of problem, that one when at the same time CPU as well as DMA is going to request for the system buses. Those things we will be discussing in the next video, that will be your bus arbitration. That is it for this video. Thank you.